Welcome to the Judgment Free Zone. You've downloaded the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast, episode 52 from May 8th, 2023.
Now adjust the volume control so that the sound can be heard in all parts of the room.
Recorded live from the cornfields of Central Illinois, you're listening to the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast with Matt and Amy. Come and learn and share a journey with two former craft beer enthusiasts who went from daily drinkers to teetotalers and basically never lost their love for their life together.
Hey, a freak show!
Well, hello there, children. Welcome back to your weekly freak show that is the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast. I am Matt, along with the always lovely Coach Amy. How are you?
I'm good.
I had no witty statement this
No
week.
witty banter.
Well, I have witty banter, just not a
You're
witty
kind of having a little bit of a day.
a day. In my defense, this workhorse got ridden pretty hard yesterday, so
I think that's
I wasn't
all.
exactly
I think it's
looking
all
for-
called mindset.
I wasn't looking for a to-do
I think
list.
it's called, that's mindset. Okay.
Is that okay? Sounds like a wife excuse. No, you're fine. It's mindset. You need to get in the mindset that you want to do more stuff. That's your mindset.
We did not do that much stuff
Why do I feel like I did, though?
because you put that pressure on yourself. We really didn't. We kind of were putzing. We did the groceries. All of what we did yesterday was just kind of, I was so chilled and relaxed yesterday.
And why didn't I get a shower till 5 o'clock?
I didn't get one until like almost bedtime. I didn't care. I just kept going.
Just kept laying around your filth and Florida filth. That's why today I'm wearing a collared shirt. I decided I am not dressing in the scrubs of yesterday.
I'm just saying, everything yesterday I just found was fun.
Well, but you enjoy the flower planting time of the year.
I do. I love it.
I just do it for you.
Aw.
Because
That's so sweet.
I do, because I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy plants that just give me more work. You work, you water
Okay.
them. They are your
Okay.
plants. You do the watering.
I do the watering. And here's the other thing. I don't understand why you think this is so much work. You literally only, we
I think the
only
rule
did
is-
I think we did 4 planters. 4 planters is what we did. You're like acting like it's like this
It is.
big work.
I think the more you don't want to do something, the more work it feels.
I think, again, I think this is a mindset. I think if you looked at this as an opportunity.
Before the podcast, Amy did say,
that we got to share the day together. I totally enjoyed it. I was just hanging out with you, having
did.
fun. We went to
We went so many
the
places I don't even remember.
nursery. That was awesome. We went to 2 nurseries. It was just fun.
I think it's the
had a-
stress of in the middle of mowing the lawn. It's like, hey, can you go grocery shopping before I get home from work? Not you, a certain child in the house.
Okay.
I'm like,
yeah, we need to work on some breath work. And we need to, because you notice,
See?
I've already done my breath work today. I've already done my breath work. I've already had my at least 30 seconds to a minute cold shower this
See, kids,
morning.
when you're married to a coach, you have lots of
You know
techniques.
what? I started all of that this year, and it has made an amazing.
I do appreciate you
difference.
telling me when you're going to do it, so I'm not like, is she dying in there? I'm like, are you okay? Do you need-
I'm telling you, the reason I am no longer, here's an announcement, after over, I think it was close to 20 years that I have been on
I don't know.
antidepressants. I'm off of them.
You're off of them.
I am completely off of them. I am feeling absolutely amazing.
Talk to your local doctor or pharmacist before quitting,
Exactly.
kids.
I'm not telling people to do this. I've already talked with my nurse practitioner.
And I talked to my doctor when I quit as well.
6 months ago, and she said, just wing, if you feel like you want to do it. And at the time, this was in the fall, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready in the fall.
Go
I
right
had a
into
lot
that,
of
yeah.
stuff going on with, Christmas and the holidays and that. I just kind of kept that. But then I was like, at the beginning of the year, I'm like, well, she said to just go ahead and taper back. And I just tapered back. And
Taper
it was
back.
kind of the point where it was like, am I really even
I would say
taking these? I mean, I was taking one every 3 days.
so you weren't doing a whole
No,
lot.
but yes, but and actually tomorrow is my appointment to just check in with her. So I figured, you know what? I still have the appointment. I'm going to go in, talk to her, just kind of let her know what I'm
you
doing.
go.
But I'm telling you, the breath work has been amazing. In fact, I found a gal here locally. She doesn't do the Wim Hof breathing, but she does another, like a mindfulness. And I'm thinking about, I'm going to probably invite her on as well, but I'm going to go and I'd like the 2 of us. We need to get grounded into the earth. It's going to be a wonderful time.
You hippie.
You know what? I guess I kind of turn it into one. I love going outside and
Or just a weird old lady or something. I don't
putting
know.
my feet, like this morning, went outside and put my feet in the wet grass.
I hope you did that before I put down the fertilizer.
Oh yeah, it was early.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and it was out back.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then you're fine.
You
You're fine.
don't put fertilizer in the back
No.
and
Protect
stuff
the
like
puppy.
that.
Protect the puppy, kids.
But yeah, I mean, you were kind of having this whole thing.
I have a very...
You need to take, honestly.
I think my rub is, and this has nothing to do with alcohol freeness, it has to do with marriage, but I like here's what we're going to do today. And then the list kept morphing and changing and this, and what about this? And then, tomorrow we can do this. I'm like, we haven't finished doing today's to do. Let's do today's to do. And then we want about tomorrow's to do, because tomorrow's to do will be there tomorrow. Today's to do, let's get today's to do done.
You just need to let go of the
All I wanted to do was watch my Dungeons and Dragons movie.
We did.
We did.
Okay, here's another thing. We watched your movie.
There you go.
We did.
And I stayed awake.
You watched it. I know. And very funny movie.
After my NA beer exploded all over me, but that was not awesome. As I'm laying on the couch covered in blankets and I'm sitting there with this beer exploding, I'm like, getting up makes it worse. Sitting here I don't even know what to do. So much to say here. Anyway.
It was kind of humorous.
So if you enjoy this witty banner, kids, like and subscribe, share with your friends.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out.
But I'm so excited. This is our 5th. If we were doing this consecutively, I guess this would be considered the year mark. But that
if we
was
were
probably
consistent,
about,
is what you're saying. If we were, we're pretty consistent.
Here's the thing. We wanted to do a weekly.
But we're okay if we miss once in a while.
But if we miss, and I mean, honestly, when we're looking at June coming up, we've got a lot going on.
No, the rest of May. We have 2 graduations, so it's going to kind of make it a little tricky.
Yeah, and into 2 graduations, and then we have Maggie's graduation from high school is more of a concern than Luke's, because that's just
true.
an up
That's a
up
Saturday.
and back. But again, if you don't see a new podcast, I will be doing some fast forward back, as our kids used to call them, some rewind. Fast forward back.
But yes, okay. We were gonna. It's episode 52, so we thought about doing 52 reasons not to drink. We're like, nobody wants to listen to somebody ramble on 50. And then when you start reading some of these, I found a list of like 50.
I kind of
reasons.
feel like they're using some duplicate.
Yeah, some are like really stretching, like. I don't remember the example, but anyway, it was really stretchy.
It's okay. I already did 23 reasons when I hit my year mark. And you can go back to my blog and you can read some of those.
At jointheotherside.com, where you can also find our guide to 7 tips that helped us quit drinking.
Yes.
The 5 o'clock somewhere alcohol-free
AF.
edition. AF edition now, but...
Just call it AF.
But Amy, you know what time it is?
Yes.
Time for that drink of the week.
Making up noises now, people.
All right, what's your drink of the week there, sound effect machine?
Okay. It is called Best Day Brewing.
Not best day ever.
I know, but it's really good. Kolsch, right? Kolsch style. Born in Northern California.
Yeah.
And it has, this is brewed for doers, surfers, climbers, early risers, free divers, chefs, gardeners, dancers, oyster farmers, dreamers, planters, builders, mothers, fathers. I'm not going to go on because basically... Oh, photographers are on here.
Oh, good.
Tree huggers, you've already called me that. Entrepreneurs,
Foragers.
bakers, poets, musicians, lifeguards. And here's the best thing about this. This, you asked me, and you can go find this at Best Day Brewing. You can follow them on Instagram. 55 calories, and it's in Sausalito.
Sausalito Summer.
Sausalito,
There you go.
California. It is so good.
We both drank it, and I said, all right, I know what I think this beer is for. And I said, drink it and tell me what you think of. And she goes, boat. I said, exactly.
I said lake.
Lake, boat. Whatever.
Boat, lake.
Yeah, same thing.
It was just like, oh, this is such a good
a
lake
summer
beer.
beer, I guess.
Yeah, a really good summer beer.
I am doing, speaking of California, same beer, Best Day Brewing, the West Coast IPA. It is, just West Coast IPA. It's really good. They're a solid brewer. I've never tried them because I can't buy it local. But as it happens, because of the podcast and other things, it just comes up in my feed, so I ordered some.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
The nice thing is I bought the 12-pack, like, variety pack, so you didn't have to buy, you have 4 of 3 different kinds, so you can try them all and see which one you like.
Yeah, I really, that's a really good one.
Yep. But if you want to save $5 on a different beer, go to gobrewing.com. You can use our referral link down in the notes and get $5 off your first order from gobrewing.com.
And I would highly recommend it. In fact, one of my...
Go Brewing or Best Day?
Both. But Go Brewing...
they are top tier for sure.
They do. And one of my friends, she couldn't find a sour because she really liked sours.
And now they have one.
And she was like, oh, and she puts up, does anybody have an option? Then she got on there. She's like, they have one. I've ordered it. So
sour, not gluten-free.
Yeah, it's, we love Go Brewing. Yes. And so if you ever need, if you're up in Naperville, Illinois, head in there. It is a great location.
It is awesome. One day I will drive up there to work just because I can. But.
One day, you know what? In the fall, I think we go up. We go up like we look at whatever their schedule is, and we go up.
You could work and then go watch your show at the night time.
And then, spend the night and then
go there all day next day.
No, we could go and see Maggie.
Oh, that's true.
Because then she'll be up at school.
Oh, that's true. Just do it in reverse. Good idea. You're smart. All right. Well, we got a little booze news. I don't have the booze news bumper, but this is what happens when Matt starts making notes and then Amy decides to do something also. But mine's brief. And this is hits home for us as we raised our children while we were in the midst of our drinking extravaganza. And we were never like off the chain with our drinking.
No.
But Amy Edwards keeps clicking on this document. And I can't read over her mouse.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
I was highlighting it.
Oh, thank you I know where I'm at. So anyway, a recent survey from the Journal of Alcohol and Alcoholism found that around 33% of parents reported drinking a glass of alcohol each day or a couple times a week. A fifth took things...
During the pandemic?
No, this is period.
Okay. I thought this was...
No, this is period. Almost a fifth took things a stage further, admitting to getting slightly drunk at 7%. Indicated...
Almost 8%.
Yes. A fifth took things further, but 8% indicated getting visibly drunk each day or a couple of times a week in front of their children. So how does that impact the children? The kids felt 18% had felt embarrassed and 11% had felt worried about their parents drinking. So if you think your kids aren't noticing...
Your kids notice.
You doing stupid stuff. A further 7% claimed their parents argued with them more than usual, and 8% said their parents have been more unpredictable when they're drinking, which is logical. I don't. Our kids have never really stated anything about noticing our drinking. I think it just was. I don't know. I'm not gonna say we hid it well, but
I think we just.
We probably weren't as good as we could have been. We just always were that way, so they may have not noticed.
No, it was considered normal. I mean, they saw it at their grandparents' house and they saw it at our house, and it was just part of it. Right.
This one's on point. Is other negative impacts include parents paying their children less attention at 12%, and bedtimes being disrupted either by being put to bed early or later than usual, which was the case for 15% of children.
Yeah, and I want to just say along with that, I know that there were many times where it was like, we would say, we just want to get those kids to bed.
Get those kids to bed.
Get the kids to bed. I want to have my glass of wine. And those days are so quick.
Yep.
They go by so quick. And now I'm like, I wish. And there were times,
you want to go
honestly,
to the park. Wow.
I don't want to go to the park. I want to stay home. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to sit on my porch and drink.
Of course, this was before the era of all the stainless tumblers that everybody carries everywhere now and has whatever they want in it. So
True story.
Having wine at the park, from my understanding, is not an uncommon occurrence.
Yeah. But anyways, it is, your kids do see it. The other thing is when, just like when we had Mark and Jill on, Mark's coping that he was talking about, that came from what he viewed as kid.
Right.
I mean, think about it. I mean, us coming home, that's what you do.
Yep.
You know what?
Come home from work, you have a drink.
You have a drink. That's what you do.
That's a routine.
And it's not only with your families. Again, it's on TV. It's everywhere.
Oh, right.
It's something that our society has just ingrained into us that you cannot do life without alcohol. And we are here to tell you, you can. And it's crazy when I meet those unicorns that I like to call. They were like, yeah, I don't drink.
Yeah.
Or or when I go out, I'll have a drink. Like, and I don't go out much. My kids are little, so
yeah.
And
you're surprised when you start talking to people. It's like, oh, not you tend to cluster with people of like mind, right? So we always thought everybody drinks. Well, because we always hung around people who drank mostly because we wanted to drink. So why would I hang around a bunch of people who didn't want to drink? So, when you don't drink though, I find drinking made me want to be around people who drank. Not drinking, I don't really care. Like, I don't care if you're drinking or not drinking. It doesn't really matter to me.
But when I was drinking, but you didn't really want to go.
If there was
no alcohol, it was like, well, what's the point? Why I don't want to go out. I want to do this. Oh, they don't drink. Well, we drink. Let's not hang out with them.
Because some of these events though, I'm like, I don't want to go because I don't drink, and if I don't drink, it's no fun. Like literally, like the only thing that makes
no, the event was no fun.
Yeah, the event was just no fun. So
and
the only way to get through
the only way, it was like, and honestly, that's the way a lot of events are. In fact, it was really interesting. I had a conversation. I won't mention any names or anything, but I have a friend who's out in California who is a part of a foundation that helps people who are homeless, displaced, and also helps with them with programs on addiction, mental health, and that. And so obviously, like all places, we all have fundraisers, and one of their fundraisers is, it's a afternoon type event, like a lawn event, and there's alcohol, but she's on the committee and she wants to add an NA option, and they did last year, and like she said, there was no public, they didn't put up any signage. They didn't put it out there to anybody.
Which is fine. It's like, well, nobody orders it. Well, no
one knew it was there, but they
don't put a hamburger on your menu. Nobody's going to order it.
Exactly. And she ended up getting thanked by a wife came up and said, thank you so much. My husband doesn't drink. But there's so many reasons why people don't drink. It's not just because maybe they're to the point like you and I were. We're like, okay, we need to quit drinking. The people are on medications.
Right.
I mean,
they're pregnant.
They're
100
pregnant.
reasons, yeah.
There's so many different, or, they're like, it really makes me feel horrible.
Right.
And so they're doing it for health issues. And so they were like, well, we just don't know if we need to serve, that this year. And I told her, I said, here's what I would say. You need to be an all-inclusive. You have people, the disconnect is we're helping people who have addictions, and we're sitting here and we're drinking and raising money, which fine.
Well, it's just like the mimosas and mammograms.
Yes,
like, okay,
fine,
here, have some alcohol.
Fine, but you need to, if somebody was a vegetarian, you're going to bet that there's a vegetarian option.
Right.
So please have a couple of NA options, especially if this is the type of event that you're having, where you're actually fundraising for people who have addictions.
Well, yes, especially with that case.
So that was just, it's this disconnect. There's nothing, it's just an education process is the way I look at it. So,
although you bring up a good point, I always try and, when I find a store that particularly has a good selection of NA stuff, or a restaurant that has, I'm like, I try whenever I can to thank whoever, to say, thanks for having an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it may not be, great beer like Go Brewing or this Best Day Brewing, but even if it's just, the Heineken Zeros, which is good anyway, but, or a Budweiser, well, at least they had something. Right?
As you and I have discussed, here locally, Little Beaver, they were the first for us. Now, there's been some others that are now doing it. In fact, I think there's a place in Normal that we should probably go down and check out as well. But I think there's that, we need to go in and thank them and go, thank you very much. You know what? Hey, if you're local, here's some places you can go that actually have a great selection, and make sure you go to those places.
Right. I think they sort of set the pace, because you'll notice they did it first, and now the others have sort of come along, and some who were
very hesitant,
very reluctant, and didn't really want to, all of a sudden I think they were like, oh, well, if people have an option and we have nothing.
Yeah.
And you lose by default.
It should be looked at just like I'm choosing, just like if I chose not to eat meat, it should be the same thing. I'm choosing not to
Right.
drink alcohol. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a health reason.
Yep. Well, and you know what? You're charging the same price, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
costing anything, and it's not on a keg. It's in a, well, if you go to Go Brewing, it's on a keg, but most places it's in a can, so it can sit in that
Exactly.
fridge for, months. Really.
Exactly. So,
But anyway, think twice, don't think that it's not impacting your kids. For us, unfortunately, we were a little far gone, but,
but I think, again, you're making an impact on your kids. I mean, we clearly are. It's like, look, we just want to let you know, well, our son has anxiety. We have anxiety, both of us. And if you have anxiety and you're drinking alcohol,
You ain't helping the kids.
You are throwing gas on flames.
And you know what? You can maybe listen right now and be like, no, it's not really that bad. Trust me. I was in that same boat of like,
and the
it's
thing
not
is,
that much.
the
but it
thing is like, you feel anxious by the time in the afternoon because the alcohol is finally out of your system. You're getting that itch. And so your anxiety goes up and you're like, oh. And so when you do have that beer in the afternoon,
It technically is.
it does relax you.
Right.
But unfortunately, as we all know,
It's the reason you need to relax in the first place.
It's a stimulant and a depressant.
There you go.
So there you go.
Little known / not little known fact.
Okay.
Okay, so Coach Amy, we're bringing in a little bit of this. Our
Well,
marriage.
we're going to start bringing in the more because we
Haven't
let's
changed
see.
it, have we?
No, I haven't done that. The Alcohol-Free Marriage and More podcast. I don't know if we're really going to change the name that you're going to search under. We haven't gotten that far, but since we
It's
are
kinda like when they had like Super Kmart or Super Target or it's like Super Alcohol-Free Marriage Podcast. A little more with more marriage. That's about what we're doing.
we're not going to start sister wives or something here. I hope not. Come on, let's not. No. I think, well, that whole thing is like, we want to also interview other people
Right.
and to be able to go, oh, hey, like I said, I've got my friend who is a home organizer and declutterer. I'm like, oh, I want to talk to her.
Yep.
I think that would be a great interview. I have another friend who is a financial planner. I think that would be really good to bring that person on as well. And then as well, continue interviewing people who have found freedom from alcohol, who are making a different choice, just like we did. So,
Well, and as we found, alcohol crosses a lot of barriers. So, what's the impact of alcohol on your financial, or your marriage, or whatever. So,
exactly.
yep.
Exactly. So, okay, we're going to jump in and talk about I can't talk.
So we're podcasters.
A topic that would be in what we're learning in our marriage coaches training.
It's kind of like a book report. Is that what we're doing here?
I don't know if it's a book report, but it's called, what we're learning is love styles.
Yes.
And
So a little different than your love language. Well, a lot different,
Yeah,
actually,
it
than
is.
your love language.
because it's basically,
Well, because a love language, you're actually just understanding how that person operates, whereas a love style is more about recognizing what you are and trying to become a little different.
yes. And well, your love style is more like how you want to receive love. Your
That's
the
your
love
love
languages.
language.
Yes. That's how you want to receive love. Your love styles is really based on your childhood experiences. It's, as Mark and Jill call it, they call it a blueprint. That's how we learned when we were kids,
Right.
how to adapt and cope and learn to just live in this world.
And if you want to take the test, you can go to howwelove.com and take the test and see
Yep.
what you are. But
Yeah,
the
let me
point
give
is,
a couple of books. I just want to reference them. We'll put these in here. The authors of the book is How We Love, and I can't remember the authors' names. I feel bad, but that's one of the books. And then again, No More Perfect Marriages is Jill and Mark's book
Right.
that they did. So we'll post both of those as well.
And the point being that you're trying to understand, not look for blame, but understand why you ended up the way you are because of being raised. Not to blame anybody, just
and not to blame your parents, not to put anything on that, but it's all about understanding. And
Right.
there's been a lot of aha moments.
Yeah.
A lot of aha moments. So what we're going to do is just take you through the love styles. We will probably start talking a little bit more about these. Maybe we'll actually maybe touch on our two because we're basically very similar.
We are. Good, bad, or otherwise. Well,
yeah.
the types are, and we'll go through them. But our avoider, pleaser, a vacillator, a controller, and a victim.
And then the last one
Is a secure connector.
is the secure connector. And you want to become
a secure connector.
a secure connector. That's hard to say.
Secure connector.
Yeah.
So Amy and I are pretty much avoider pleaser types.
Yeah, and I do have a little bit of the controller. Mention that.
Killing me shocked.
And the vacillator.
Yep. So,
and that would be another thing. When you take this test, know that you might score high in several areas.
yeah.
And that is completely normal.
So I think I tied for avoider and pleaser. And
Yeah, I was tied, and then I had a couple that were also higher.
That's your kip.
But again, it's all about how you were raised, and again, not putting any blame out there.
So I don't want to read all of this because we'd be here forever. But
Yeah, let's focus on you and I.
all right, well, when that edit sounds weird, it's because this software keeps crashing on me. So okay, once again, or for the first time, we're going to focus on the avoider and pleaser for this one because that's what we are. But again, we also have the vacillator, the controller, and the victim. So do you want to talk about the avoider first?
And always striving again to be the secure connector.
Yes.
Okay, so the avoiders, they come home. Oh wait, the avoiders come from home. Sorry, I'm like, they come home.
They come home, they kick off their shoes, they don't care.
Avoiders come from homes that are often low in affection, but place high value on independence and self-reliance. Avoiders grow up learning to take care of themselves, to deal with anxiety of having so little comfort and nurturing from their parents. They have learned to restrict their feelings and suppress their needs. As adults, avoiders can be emotionally distanced and unengaged. And so if you are an avoider, these are some of the statements that you might relate to. Like, I am usually fine when something, fine. When something bad happens, I try to get over it quickly. In my family growing up, we rarely discussed personal concerns. I'm usually happiest when others are happy and don't want a lot from me. I don't really think about my own feelings and needs very often. And I don't really miss my spouse or family if I'm away from them for a while. I need my space.
Do you want me to do pleaser? And then
Yeah, go ahead.
We can
Do
talk about
pleaser.
how those two meld together. The pleaser usually grows up in a home with an overly protective or angry, critical parent. Pleaser children do everything they can to be, quote unquote, be good and avoid troubling their reactive or anxious parent. Anxious, see? These kids don't get comfort. Rather, they spend their energy comforting, caretaking, and appeasing parents and siblings. As adults, pleasers tend to continually monitor the moods of others around them and try to keep everyone happy. Eventually, they can become resentful, but rarely know how to express their own difficult emotions or ask for what they want. So if you're a pleaser, you may say things like, for most or all of my childhood, I could have been described as the good kid. I feel very upset if someone is upset or annoyed with me, so I'm good at keeping peace. I seek connection and avoid rejection by anticipating and meeting others' needs. Conflict makes me uneasy, and I prefer to deal with disagreements by giving in or making up for it and quickly moving on. I have difficulty confronting or saying no, and sometimes it makes me less than truthful.
Yeah.
So I would argue I'm probably more pleaser than avoider, but I think my avoider personally comes in where I want to avoid the hard thing completely, and then if there's ever a problem, like, what do I do to get back to homeostasis?
Yeah. And I would have to say, the vacillator, I also have some tendencies on that. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but vacillators, others say about vacillators that they often feel they're walking around on eggshells around me. At times, I find myself picking a fight, and I'm not sure why. I feel like no one has really understood what I need. I experience internal conflict and I have high emotional stress in relationships. And I've always been especially sensitive and perceptive and can tell when others are pulling away from me. That definitely is me too.
Right. And I think that you would think, well, you have an avoider and a pleaser. Well, you're both the same. But that should be perfect, right? Like you're the same. Like you work together. No, because you both tend to avoid the challenging things and just whatever it takes to keep the peace, and you don't get deep into some things that you might need to get into because you don't want to deal with it.
Well, and for an example, I've got a couple about our relationship, and one is when we were drinking. You know, like for me, it was like I knew you were not going to quit drinking. Like you were like, I'm not quitting drinking. This is the way I am. Yeah. I mean, it really was. Right. And I would go and try, you know, we would have my periods of I'm Weight Watcher. I'm on Weight Watchers now, or I'm doing whatever. I'm eating clean. I'm doing this. I'm only going to have 2 drinks a week.
You weren't fun, fat Amy.
Yeah. I mean, and please don't get mad at Matt, because that was that was my own.
Right. Label.
Yeah. And so we would sit there. And I was like, well, I don't want to have a conversation with you about your drinking. And what am I going to do? Well, I guess I'm going to just go ahead and drink.
Yep.
And so that was really a thing. And then also we would sit and we would be together, but we would be drinking and numbing out together. Like
plus, if you numb out, then you don't worry about
the
things you're avoiding,
yeah,
and
you don't talk.
Like, then you have to worry about it. That's true too.
And then the other thing that I could talk about on that is finances.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you and I we will we will avoid it like the plague. It's like, okay, I'm like, and I'll sit there and go, all right, we need to address this. But in my mind, I'm like, well, okay, well, I don't know what to ask for support on this. And so I'd just be like, okay, well, whatever.
Well, it's safe to say in our 25 years, I don't think we've ever had a budget. There's probably financial people out there.
Well, I think we do have a budget.
Kind of.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we have things broken out. Right. I mean, we have that. But the big thing for me is that I'm sitting there and I worry about money. My childhood, I've always worried about money because of the way I was brought up with that instability. Right. Of my dad working for a union and then going on strike and all of these different things. And I really took that on as the oldest child. And with that, I've always worried about money. And with you don't. You do not worry about it. And I will sit there but years ago, you're like, I don't want to pay the bills anymore. It's too stressful. So you gave it to me.
Hey, I still get taxes, so you know.
Yes, but
that's
you
like
gave
an annual atomic bomb.
But you gave it to me,
yes.
And then it's this whole okay. So now again, and I really firmly believe we've kind of had a true conversation about this, and I've apologized that okay, I haven't asked enough questions. I've put pressure on you on certain things. You've put pressure on me.
You avoided it, and I seeked. I looked to please, and I was like, "It's okay. It's okay. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, "Well, I don't know, what's going." Anyway, so nothing bad or anything like that.
But you can see how it causes problems because one's trying to please something, somebody's trying to avoid, and vice versa. And
exactly. So you have this scenario where
it mutes some conversations. I think.
Yes, and so now it's like, no, let's sit down. We had a couple of real. True conversations. Let's do the bills together. Let's sit down and do this. We used to have a rule years ago: no spending, no purchase over $100.
Right.
And we still, I think, hold pretty true to that.
I think so. I mean,
and I think that's a really good. If you're going to spend, and I don't mean like groceries or things like that, but if you're going to go out and do this, and you've always been like, okay, I'm going to buy this. This is for my business. Such and such out of my business money or whatever. So those are things that we've done. So it does. But if you wake up and you're like, what the heck?
Right.
What am I doing here?
Well, and I think the alcohol, like you said, it muted some of that conversation. But even if you try and have the conversation, then that becomes the worst time to have the conversation is when you're drinking.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna have a real conversation about it, or you're not gonna have a productive conversation about it. necessarily. So I think that's a challenge too. It's like, oh, what did I say when we were drinking? Like that, or you just make an unrealistic plan. That's like,
Well, and the other thing that alcohol did, because we were drinking so much and it was costing us so much.
oh yeah.
When we did quit, it was like all of a sudden, I mean, and honestly, we bring on these different non-alcohol options and stuff.
Right.
We don't drink them like we used to.
Oh,
so
gosh, no.
now our beer fridge is full. Like it's always full.
Well, and sometimes we get kicks and start buying. I'm like, all right, we need to quit buying stuff because, I mean, when you drink, maybe one a day, maybe two a day at most.
You don't have room.
You don't go through it as opposed to when you're drinking a 6-pack a day, right? So you don't crank through it.
And so that's the other thing.
6-pack lasts a week.
You have more. You have more money.
Right.
It is kind of crazy,
Right.
and
you're not having a few drinks and thinking, I'll just buy this on Amazon and
yes, your purchases.
Or when we used to, used to go get our cocktail or go get a couple margaritas and go to Target or whatever and buy a bunch of crap you probably don't need.
Yeah. So anyways,
it ties together. But the avoider pleaser it's very common. Also,
yes,
we've learned.
But it's I mean, we could go in and we can always touch on these later too. But for also the sake of time. But the ultimate thing that you are wanting to do, and I'm going to bring up the secure, so we can go over that.
Secure connector.
Yeah, let's go over that. Just because this is what we're wanting to get to.
Yeah, you learn your own style and why you're doing what you're doing with the goal to become a secure connector in your relationship.
And to becoming a better listener and a better
Right.
communicator, and remembering to have that openness of grace and forgiveness for each other, because we are just human.
Right.
We are human beings who are flawed and do stupid things and just do stuff.
Right.
And the things that are most enduring, is that to you? Endearing to each other. When you get married, they become incredibly annoying at times. I mean, I used to love the fact that Matt I still do, that you're really a very pretty, neat, organized.
Until I start putting stuff away that you need.
Yes. But when and I have to recognize that as you come in this morning and you're picking things up around me that I am not quite done using, but I'm just sitting there. Oh, wow, I'll just help her out. I'll just put that away.
You're done enough.
I mean, literally, there have been times where I've turned around and I'm like, I haven't even used that yet. Please, can I get that back out? So just remember those things. We'll jump into the secure connector now. Secure connectors are comfortable with say that word, please.
Reciprocity.
Thank you. And balanced giving and receiving in relationships. They can describe strengths and weaknesses in themselves and others without idolizing. You need to
There's a lot of big words. Idolizing and devaluating.
Thank you.
Good at self-reflection, secure connectors clearly and easily communicate their feelings and needs. Resolving conflict was modeled for them growing up, so they know how they are not perfect and can apologize when wrong. Setting boundaries and saying no is also no problem for a secure connector. They are comfortable with new situations, can take risks, and delay gratification. When upset, secure connectors seek help and comfort from people rather than a thing, because we can read.
Yes, because that's one thing that pleasers and avoiders, they like to, all of the others like to, it looks like self-medicate.
Well, right, yeah. And the...
the statements?
Well, and easily communicate your feelings and needs. I think that's...
Yeah,
that's the thing that starts lacking in a lot of those other ones of just that whole communication piece.
Yeah, and you want to, you have a wide range of emotions. I have a wide range of emotions and express them appropriately. This is the secure connector talking. It's easy for me to ask for help and receive help from others when I have needs. I can say no to others even when I know it will upset them. I'm adventuresome, and I know how to play and have fun. I know I'm not perfect, and I give my loved ones room to disagree.
Right.
And that's that can be a big thing too.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're wanting to, and we can talk about this in another podcast about our listening skills.
Right.
I think that is the key, and being vulnerable with each other, like coming in and saying to you, like, I'm like, I need to talk to you about this.
Right.
I want you to not try to fix anything and just listen to me and then respond.
Right.
Or respond and, a little bit later after you have time to think about it. And these are things, honestly, we're not taught.
Right. Well, I think this works better too with doing it together, right? Like it's gonna be hard for, not saying you can't, but it's harder for one person to become the secure connector of the other person, because I wouldn't personally feel as compelled to do some of this if I didn't trust that you were reciprocating or trying to reciprocate similarly.
Along with that, though, I will say, though, that if you decide that you're going to work on your own relationship and you say, you know what, I'm going to read this book. If you decide you're going to work on yourself, it will help the relationship.
Yes.
It definitely, if you can go in again, and it's just like when I took my break first from alcohol, and I would look at you and go, oh, I can't change you. I can make a suggestion. I can offer a suggestion.
Right.
You and put it out there. But I have to put it out there with, again, love. Not to try to go in and preach at you. It's more of okay, I want to see how I can do this. And also when you start to learn about this, you can kind of look and go, oh, okay, I understand that. This makes sense, even though that other person, your partner, or whatever the relationship is. Because you can take this into work. You can use this with your children.
Right.
And
this is just how you react to your spouse. I mean, it's how you react.
Exactly. So, very interesting. But I think whenever you decide you're going to work on yourself, you will improve relationships.
Well, it's kind of like the movie Fireproof, right? Like in a marriage, like if both people are like, well, they don't care, why do I care? Like it becomes a cyclical thing. Mm-hmm. So if one person starts showing, a different approach or different attitude, that can impact the other person. Like, oh, well, they show they give a crap. Maybe I should give a crap.
Absolutely.
So, similar to your alcohol example.
And the last thing I wanted, and I think this is just kind of a tip to put out here to everybody, is when you're looking, because I kind of touched on, things that you loved about somebody when you first were dating,
right?
That, look at whatever that person is doing. And when if you're going to have a disagreement, or you think you're going to have a disagreement, remember to have that attitude of humility, going in with grace and forgiveness. Forgive that person for whatever before they even do something. Kind of coming up with that, changing your heart, and always coming in and asking these two questions. And these two questions were out of the No More Perfect Marriages. And this question is, so this is if, your spouse has done something and you are, you're like, okay, they did this. Ask yourself the question, does this action hurt me or does it irritate me? Yeah. And then the second question is, does this need to be corrected or accepted as part of being married to an imperfect human?
Say it again. Does it what?
Does this, I'll just say this, does this situation, I'll just say, need to be corrected or accepted as part of being married to an imperfect human?
That's right.
I mean, so if you, leave something out, you know what? We've been married for 20 some years, and I'm pretty sure that my side of the vanity is never going to be great.
Nope. That's why I want to get one of those grocery things.
So you're just going to have to give me some grace and
I'm
deal
telling you,
with
I'm going to grab those things from the grocery store and just put it down. This is my side. No.
I love it.
That's why we have a long vanity. I have a spot. It's clean. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. So
I just walk by with my hand next to my eyes like, I don't see
And when I trip over your big shoes.
Well, you should have married a man with smaller feet. You know what they say about a guy with big hands and big feet? Big gloves and big shoes.
There you
go. Another
But don't
Merlinism.
ching.
right, kids, that's it for us for this week. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, Amy at joyontheotherside.com is where you can send that email. Always like, subscribe, put a little comment down there. That always helps us out. We appreciate that.
Yeah, share it. You know,
Sure.
if you're on my Instagram and when I put it out, you know, put that the new episode is out, share it. Share it. If you would like to be a guest on the show, if you want to share your alcohol-free story, or, you know, if you're just, you know, sober curious, or if you have something you think our audience would like to know more about, let us know.
Yes, that would be awesome. All right, kids, well, that's it for us for this week. We appreciate you stopping by the Alcohol-Free Marriage Podcast. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Matt, along with Coach Amy, wishing you peace and love, and we are out.